911, that's the location of your emergency.
This is a homicide investigation from 2020.
Well, I'm not sure, kids said that they heard gunshots last night.
We were called on November 25th of 2020 to 638 South Ida.
They said that they think that they shot my neighbor's house.
His neighbors noticed that he wasn't outside and active.
And normally around this time, my neighbor's already out, and we were getting ready to go to the store, and his door's open. So I don't know if maybe they went into his house or what, but his door's open. His door's never open like this.
The door had been forced open, the front door.
So you want someone to check his house out? Yeah, just to see, make sure he's okay, because like I said, my kids weren't sure if there were gunshots or what they were. And what's your neighbor's name? Camille.
Camille Boyede. When officers arrived, they found the home open, and they found the resident deceased inside their home.
How's he killed?
By multiple gunshot wounds. It was, in my opinion, someone that knew Camille or was familiar with Camille and knew the residents or his activities.
Kids said that they seen a car parked, like a van parked on the side, and a guy walking towards walking towards his house, and he was holding his hip.
What do we know about the suspect? What do we know for sure?
We do know the vehicle. It was a light or white colored minivan. Now we had video that of the suspect vehicle and of the suspect's approach to the home and the length of time that they were there at the home. So it was very short.
Do you think this person drove there to kill him?
Yes, I do. It appears that it was someone that knew him and had a vendetta of some sort.
Do you think there are people out there who know who this is?
I think not only is there people out there that know who this suspect is, but I think there are people that are friends that are going to be able to put that connection together or help us with that nexus on who the owner of this suspect vehicle is, or who this person was, or who they know of that had a disagreement or was on bad terms with Camille.
There's all kinds of reasons for people to not want to step forward. If you could talk to those people, and you have the ability to do that here, what do you say to make them take that step and make that call?
I want to let them know that we have to speak for Camille on making this right, and we can do it together. We're working hand in hand or partnering to get this done. I just asked for him to give us a call so we can look into it.
In the early morning hours of November 25th, 2020, a white van drives to Camille Boyade's home on South Ida. A person gets out and shoots him multiple times. Now take a close look at this van. It is the best clue that detectives have that can help them solve this murder. Do you recognize it? Do you know who killed Camille Boyade? For Fact Finder 12, I'm Alex Flippin. Hector Ortega, or Ivan, as he preferred to be called, was
funny. He's funny, super nice.
Ivan's sister Stephanie says her brother was somehow, at the same time, both shy and outgoing. His cousin Lala describes him differently.
My cousin she says that us two are very alike because we're both like the awkward ones, the ones that stand out a little bit more because we're weird, I guess is what she calls us.
The only boy in a close family full of girl cousins, Ivan was a typical young guy. Didn't get into much trouble, loved to play Fortnite, something he taught the oldest of his two sons to do. Because, besides being the super nice, funny kid, as his sister says, he was also a great father.
That really surprised me that he would be a really good dad because he's so playful and everything, but once he had his kids, he really settled down. We were all just really proud of him, of the man he was becoming.
But what else he might become, his family will never know.
At 4:58 in the morning on February 24th of 2019, we get shots calls in the neighborhood.
Detective Michelle Palmer got the case. She says Ivan had just dropped a friend at a house party in this Wichita neighborhood when three men came up to his car.
They saw one person kind of leaning their hand against the car, and then they heard some arguing. They heard the victim make a comment, and then right after that, there was a single gunshot.
No scuffle, just a gunshot. Ivan was killed immediately, and no one can understand why.
I just hope that conversation comes out to the light eventually.
You want to know what was said?
I want to know what was said, like why, because it makes no sense.
I couldn't believe it. Like when my aunt called me and she told me that he was shot, I thought it was like a mistake, or I didn't think it was real. But we still don't know. We just would like to know why, because like you're saying, it just makes no sense to anybody.
And there's little to go on to help put the pieces together. 3 men, maybe early 20s. Really not much of a description. The biggest potential for clues, that house party.
Because you know people saw what happened, you know people know what happened, and you know people that have talked about this case.
The 3 men, at least one of them a murderer, were at that party, along with 20 or 30 other people, leading Detective Palmer to believe there are plenty of people who can identify them, something Ivan's family is now trying to do on their own.
We try to find out things ourselves. You know, we've found some names. We found about 2 names.
But they need help from someone watching this right now to help find a killer and help a family begin to heal.
And you have to speak up because, yeah, like the family is never gonna rest until they have closure. Until we have closure, we're not gonna be okay. I wanted to grow old with him. I wanted to live more with him, go through more life experiences with him. No, he's just someone I never imagined not to be in my life, and now he's not in it.
There is a killer that is out there. If they've had the capacity to kill before, the propensity that they'll do it again is likely.
For Fact Finder 12, I'm Alex Flippin. When friends remember Art Goebel, they remember a great man, albeit one of few words.
And I can remember the first conversation I had with Art after a church service, and I said, well, was the service okay? Did you enjoy the word? And he said, yes, and that was it. So I'm waiting for some more dialogue.
Art's pastor and best friend, Matthew Hudson, uses the term true blue to describe him.
You don't have very many of those. And when they come along, they don't come along that often. And so you treasure that.
The kind of friend you look forward to having around now and for years to come.
And you always think that you're going to live to be old and maybe retire and just maybe go fishing together when you've retired.
But that was not to be.
It happened so fast, it was in the middle of the night.
Just after 2 a.m., July 16, 2017, Art and his wife were asleep when the front door of the home is kicked in.
The shots came very fast.
Art is hit twice.
He died at the hospital pretty quickly.
And that, save a few key details that investigators tell me only the killer will know, is about all we do know about Art's case. Awakened in the middle of the night by someone kicking open their door, it's dark, it's terrifying. Art's wife is in the room when he's killed, but could provide detectives little that might lead them to his killer. Well, we do know a lot about Art, and what we know is that there's virtually no reason imaginable that anyone would want him dead.
The thing that's very difficult about this case is Arthur certainly had no enemies. He was by all accounts, an exceptional man.
Detective Tim Relf says Art was active in his church, a Vietnam veteran with a large, loving family, a wife, children, grandchildren, rich in every way except that might make him a target for robbery, which Relf doesn't believe is a motive.
Didn't make a lot of sense. He certainly, while he had his treasures in life as far as children and stuff like that, it certainly wasn't a wealthy man by any stretch, so it's not clear why this trailer was targeted.
Confounding for detectives, but tenfold for Matthew Hudson.
It was early morning in the a.m. And they said that an accident had happened, that we needed to come down and see the family. And then we found out that he had been killed in this house.
As Art's pastor, it would be Matthew's job to help console Art's family. But as Art's friend, he found it nearly impossible.
Take a break if you want.
Whew. Just give me a second here.
Yeah,
Whew.
absolutely. It's not an easy thing to talk about.
And I don't even know how to console, even as a minister for 42 years. I don't know what to say or how can you explain this. We were so set back by it. just the trauma of it, knowing that one of your best friends has just been murdered, didn't even know how to respond, was so torn up by it.
Leads were followed, but dried up. Now, almost 4 years later, both the who and the why remain a mystery.
And it doesn't make sense.
You know, you can't find a reason.
But if someone out there does know the reason,
I've often said, you know, you give me the why and I'll catch somebody. You give me the who and it's going to be a lot harder.
and to anyone who may know something that can help bring Art Goebel's killer to justice,
we're pleading for it. If you know anything, anything would help. But the silence is deafening at this point, and we need to have this thing resolved.
So here's what we know. July 16, 2017, at about 2:25 in the morning, 2 shots go off inside a home at the Lamplighter Mobile Home Park in Wichita. The suspect is medium built, olive skin, and runs for the home just after those shots go off. Now, if you remember that night and think you may know something that might be able to help catch this killer, call police. If you know who did this, or even think that you might, call police. You don't have to give your name. For Fact Finder 12, I'm Alex Flippin.